Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney.
And I'm MK.
And how are you?
Well, if you listen to Sunday's podcast, I sound slightly better than I did on that one. So that's good. And my deathly illness is at least headed in the right direction. I still think I'll never be well again, but that's fine.
It happens.
I don't know, I've just been busy. Weirdly, November is like the weirdest month because it's the month that I have the most random amount of days off of work, and yet I still feel like I'm running around like an absolute crazy person.
Yeah.
Like this week, I had I had a half day of school on Monday and parent teacher conferences for the rest of the evening. And then Tuesday, I did not have school, just parent teacher conferences. Today I had school, and tomorrow I have a sub in my classroom. What the fuck kind of week is that?
It is a week that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then Friday obviously is Veterans Day observed. So like, no.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So literally I had a day and a half of teaching this week. And even today, which was my full day of teaching, my eighth graders didn't have class because they had a celebration for Catholic schools do this thing called Hope Ribbons, which basically is like a ceremony at the beginning of your eighth grade year where you get a ribbon pinned on you by your parents, and there's like prayers about hoping for the best for your future. And it's like the beginning of like getting yourself ready for graduation and taking eighth grade seriously and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, that's
And it's really sweet. So we had that today. So they didn't have class because I have them the block right after mass. So I took them to the reception. So I didn't teach. So yeah, it's been weird. I watched this week's episode of The Exorcist between parents at parent-teacher conferences, which I did tell Courtney this already. One of my students' parents is in fact an Orthodox priest, and I was watching this episode before he got to my classroom, and then felt like, also it's a Catholic school. So like, just,
Sure.
there was a lot of me feeling like I was going to burn. But then I redeemed myself because we had a town hall meeting for our school to like meet the school board, to meet the parents and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And it was a really long meeting. But at the meeting, I was talking to our priest at the school and officially asked him if he would perform my wedding. And he was like, oh my God, yes.
Oh, I love. That's so exciting.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to meet him. He reminds me of Father Bennett in like all of the good ways. Like he is just, yes, perfect.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I can't wait.
he's great. I can't. So Father Peter is gonna marry me, and I'm gonna never watch the show at work again.
That doesn't sound correct, but I wish you the best of luck in that endeavor.
I'm gonna attempt to never watch the show at work again.
Great. Yes.
Let's not make promises we can't keep.
Exactly. That's not what we're here to do. So, well,
how are you?
I am exhausted. I was telling Mary Kate before we got on here that I thought we recorded Sunday's episode 2 days ago, and it was roughly 24 hours ago. Yeah. Like, no sense of where
like we literally hung up about 24 hours ago right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's
less than, well, okay, slightly more than that because you had like to leave at 6:30 hours. So it was like 26 hours ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so mentally that's where I am.
Great.
Thriving. I left off the office 3 hours late today, but all of that to say, not related at all. I had a really great time this weekend because if any of you follow me on social media, my artist that I work with and represent, Caitlin, had her big show at Rockwood this weekend.
She sure did.
And it went incredibly. Follow her on all the social media and music sites, Spotify, etc. And it was just, it's like I've been working on this for like a month and a half, and I was nervous, and I know she was nervous, and we were like, is it going to be a good turnout? What's going to happen? Like, is the band going to be ready? Because it's the first time they played together, like with that group of people. And it was just incredible. And we have video, we have pictures, we have sound, like everything is just insane, like incredible. And I felt like a huge weight lifted, like relief afterwards. And it was uh, just the absolute best. And Jacqueline, who I also work with, I represent, did all the background harmonies, like the backup harmonies. And she did some rhythm guitar as well. And she just also like killed it. Like I don't get to see her perform as much because she teaches small children music. So I'm not there. But so I talked to her today, and I was telling her, I was like, it's so great to like be able to hear you perform because I never get to. And so it was just, gosh, it was light of my life. I haven't slept since, but thrilled.
If you are watching this and not listening to it, I apologize for whatever I was just doing while Courtney was talking. It just like suddenly started raining really, really hard, but it's like a vague staticky sound in my microphone, and so I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I was like, is there like a weird static connection? And then I was like, nope, that's just rain. Okay. Funny. Because it's like hail. It's been hailing all day. It's freezing rain. It's been like going between hail, like little tiny, very white hail balls, like snow, but not quite snow, and then rain. And now it's freezing rain. And I am not thrilled about the weather because I'm already sick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
So, but my dad did bring me my favorite Italian restaurant for dinner tonight, so it's fine.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't see your face or hear any of those things you're mentioning. I was just like staring off into the abyss. For those of you watching and using me not reacting, it's because I'm just staring off into the abyss.
It's great.
It's fine. So clearly we need a little help today. So if you would so kindly read some spiritual affirmations.
So today's spiritual affirmation, it says, what lies behind you and what lies in front of you pales in comparison to what lies inside you.
That's beautiful.
Ralph Waldo Emerson, which I literally cannot say anytime I say his name. He's one of my favorite authors. I cannot say his name because Ralph and Waldo, I like blend them because I say it too fast, and then I call him Welf. Welf.
I love it.
But yes.
All right. Well,
so let's look at what lies inside of us. Hopefully it is not a demon.
Hopefully it is not. But that is what we're here to talk about. What lies inside of you that is indeed a demon. So today we are going to talk about The Exorcist. Shocking, I know. Season 2, Episode 6, Darling Nikki. It aired November 10th, 2017.
That's like almost exactly 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's like almost today. We're 2 days away. Yeah. It was rated 8.7 out of 10. The number one song was still Rockstar by Post Malone. The number one movie is Justice League. And the number one book was The Rooster Bar by John Grisham, which I have never in my life heard of. And I think that is kind of a subtitle for a book. But it's fine. He's a millionaire. I'm not. So who's to say? Who's to say who's right? So some things that happened on this day. A lot of big Me Too movements happening today. The BBC removed a new Christmas drama due to Ed Westwick and his allegations. This is the day that Louis C.K. admitted that all of the rumors were true. But Murder on the Orient Express premiered today too, so happy day.
So I have a Murder on the Orient Express story.
Great, haven't read the story, so don't tell me the ending.
No, this is nothing actually about the movie. I loved the movie, but I saw the movie in theaters with one of my ex-boyfriends. we were not together at the time. He was already my ex-boyfriend when we went to the movies together to see this. We just hadn't hung out in a while. Now, when I dated him, he was too old. Like I was 17 and he was like 22, 23. So like it was not a great situation. My dad did not like him. Then we like reconnected just as friends and we were hanging out. We went to see this movie, whatever. Then I invited him to my house and he and my dad played Lego Star Wars video games and made fun of me for like hours. And it was like the most my dad has ever connected with like a guy as immediately. And I just looked at this and I was like, what the fuck is happening? I used to get grounded because I tried to talk to him, and now you guys are fucking schooling me at video games, tag teaming. Who is this? Who are you?
Men.
Worst. He's like married and has a child now, and I haven't heard from him in like 5 years, so like it doesn't matter. But anyway,
Right.
whenever I think of them already on the Orange Express, that's what I think of.
Well, that's a fun little jaunt to back in life.
2017, what a year.
What a year. That's the year we met.
No, it's not.
Did we meet at Disney? Did I meet you at Disney?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
we
when
met
you
at
came to visit Courtney. I mean, we didn't, or when Courtney, Caitlin, we didn't like become friends really until
Disney.
2017, but we met in
Yeah.
2016.
My first thought was Caitlin's wedding, and then I was like, wait, I definitely saw you because I was trying to because I didn't see all of 30303 at
No.
Disney. I met you and I think Pollyanna, and I think that was it. Paulina? What was her
Yeah,
name?
Paulina. Paulina, yeah.
She was
Yeah.
leaving, so I didn't remember
Yes.
who she was. I think that's it though. I don't think I met Montana or Nancy till later.
Yeah. I
Huh.
know I met you because I was leaving work when you guys were coming into Animal Kingdom one day, and I met you like right
Mm,
outside the park.
that's right. That's right. I
Yeah.
recall that. Yeah. All right. So now that you've heard all of our
Origin
past
story.
history, yeah. The director is Jason Ensler, who we've spoken about before. The writers are mostly the same: Adam Stein, David Graham, Melissa Clark, and Yasmin Yilmaz. There's a new one, Franklin Chinro, who has worked on a lot of other episodes, but I don't remember um, talking about him
Mm.
specifically in the like writing role.
Mm.
Um, he's known for Pachinko, Swamp Thing, and the new Goosebumps TV show.
Ah, that looks good. I haven't watched it yet, but it does
It's
look
fine.
decent. Oh, it's fine. Okay.
So I watched like whatever that first like 6 episodes or whatever. I watched them all at one time.
Mm.
Um, and huge fan of Justin Long, so
Yeah.
was sold. Um, but as someone who loves the Goosebumps series, it did really well at staying like true enough to the stories to like make this, but the feelings were not of terror. They
That's
were a
fair.
little too like YA drama as
So,
opposed to like horror.
so I feel like I would then enjoy it because I don't love the Goosebumps books. I love the Jack Black Goosebumps movie.
I have not seen the Jack Black movie yet. Um,
Oh,
but I do love the books.
see,
And
I never read them as a kid. I didn't like scary things as a child.
I didn't either, but I was obsessed with Goosebumps still for some reason. And like the TV show, like as a child, I've watched it some as an adult, so I know the vibe still, but like
Yeah.
was terrifying to me. And like, well, I
It's
don't
just
expect this to like,
honestly the doll. It's what's his name? The
yeah, yeah. I've now forgotten. I almost called him Chucky, and I was like, that is a very different doll.
very different doll.
Um, but like I watched and like while I'm not as afraid as I used to be of the original Goosebump TV show,
You still like
um,
get the vibe that it's
yeah.
genuinely
And this one it
scary.
just feels like a teen drama. Whereas like and I don't
Mhm.
mind a teen drama usually, but I think because I wanted to feel more spooky vibes, like it didn't even have the same like spookiness that like Vampire Diaries put off. Like it was a little bit
Okay.
too more like modern teen drama. So
Okay.
it's fine for what it is. And I appreciate
Yeah.
that it keeps the traditional book telling, but Yeah, no.
You should watch the Jack Black movie though, because it's
I know.
actually, I loved it.
I want to watch it. I need to go back. I
I
have
think
a
that's
one,
also
right?
because Jack Black is my dream man. Like, as much as I want to sit here and say things about like hotties like Jason Momoa and whatever, if I could date any celebrity, it would be Jack Black. And like that,
I just love him.
me too.
He's so funny. I'm sure I would love it. Um, but it's also almost his Franklin Genero's birthday. His birthday is November 28th. So happy birthday. So now for our guest star. I will be talking about someone we've talked about before, not with this show. And I'll give you a brief reminder, and I think I have some new information.
Okay.
But we're talking about Alicia Witt, who plays Nikki. Now, she's known for 88 Minutes, Dune 1984, 2 Weeks Notice, and Urban Legend. She plays Natalie.
Got it. I was like, I did not talk about this woman. The
You
name
did not.
sounded familiar, but I know I did not research this woman.
Well, she was also recently on The Masked Singer, so you've seen her recently. Maybe it was like 2 seasons ago, but like within the
Yeah,
past.
nope. Yeah, yeah.
But I did mention her because she is the second top billed cast on Urban Legend. But I'm gonna assume I didn't touch on all of these facts because there were a lot of people that we talked about. So she received her high school diploma at age 14. So
What the
super smarty.
shit?
I know. Her mother was in the Guinness World Record book for the longest hair from 1988 to 1996.
That, to be honest, that it freaks me out. Like, I used to have really long hair, and like just knowing how heavy and dead and like stressful my hair was when it touched my butt, having hair long enough to be in the Guinness Book of World Records is like literally like gives me
no.
hives.
Yeah. Yeah. It could not have been easy. She's also played Joe's Pub. She's a musician. She's also played Joe's Pub here in New York City, which for those of you
Oh,
who don't know, it's a great establishment, and
yeah.
Toshi Reagan does her birthday party there every year. She's also great. Check her out. Um, and she appeared on That's Incredible when she was a child for her amazing reading skills. And while she was on the show, she performed a performance of Romeo and Juliet with the host.
How old was
So
she?
I don't remember. I didn't say an age, but she was a small child. Small child.
Not as talented as me, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Oh no, she was 4 because I read it and I said I should have been on that show because I could read it 4. That was my thought process. So yes, she was 4. Now that I remember.
I mean, I was pretty smart at 4. I don't know if I was Romeo and Juliet smart at 4. I was definitely reading chapter like books at 4, but maybe not Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I don't know if I was Romeo and Juliet smart at 4, but I was definitely reading at 4. But yeah. So let's do this.
Let's do it.
So we left off with the Nikki reveal. And she is telling him that he's made a mess to the room. He's obviously alarmed, but also intrigued, obviously. But he asks her where Grace is. And she keeps saying, she's like, oh, she's not here anymore. And he keeps saying that it's not real. And he's trying very hard to fight this. Not
Yeah.
doing a great job, but he is trying. And then, of course, she touches him and we leave to another scene. So we go to the kids, and as we saw last time, Truck was removed from the home because of trying to choke out Verity. And so they're all asking about Truck, and Shelby's trying to explain, like, to everyone, like, well, he's at juvie, he'll be fine. Or he's like, no, he's like explaining that he'll be fine, he'll be okay, he's just getting some help. And Caleb's just like, he's going to juvie. He's never coming back. This is the end of life. And I was like, okay, be a little more optimistic, maybe.
Caleb is definitely looking at the dark side of things, but I mean, I guess that's what happens when you can't see.
Sure.
That's a horrible joke. It's a horrible joke. I'm so sorry. But also Caleb is like gonna be the most upset by this. Like Truck is his person.
Right. And also, like, he's not wrong. Like, that is
Yeah.
direction it goes. So, like, you know, And so they're walking back to the house, and Harper starts to kind of like just stay still, and she starts looking around, and it's clear that she hears something. And then all of a sudden, just a rabbit jumps out. So she's like, okay, maybe I didn't hear anything. And they move on back to the house.
Yeah, here's the problem.
So,
If you have subtitles on, you know that you heard something because the subtitles literally just say woman's voice. Harper.
yeah,
Well, fuck that.
yep. So, yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did I have subtitles? I always do, but lately when I've been watching stuff, for some reason, I am having to like reset the subtitles on, and I don't know
See,
why.
I was watching it at work, so I was watching it on my laptop, and as you guys know,
Mm,
when I don't have my headphones plugged in, I can't fucking hear shit on my laptop. So like I had subtitles on because I could only hear it at like 50% volume.
yeah, that's fair. So we go back to Nikki and Andy, and Nikki's still trying to convince him when the neighbor walks in with the kids. And before he leaves to go to the kids, he blames her for leaving, and she just says, I will never leave you again. And then we go to the credits. And I was like, that's not great. All right, that's not great though.
No, no, it's not. I'm not a fan.
Rough. So then we go to our faves, Marcus and Tomas, and they've just reconnected after Tomas broke into the house. And he's telling Marcus all about the presence in the house and how he found like this rock. And he's like, something bad is there. We got to do something about it. Like, we can't just leave them with this like presence. And then as he's talking and they're going through everything, he just starts seeing all of the dead children in the back of the truck. All of them that he saw in this like vision that he was given from the presence. And it's like at first I was like, is he gonna be possessed like again? Because Marcus like couldn't shake him out of it for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so sad. It was so sad, and like I was stressed for him. Almost as stressed for him as I am for myself. But it's
Oh,
fine.
right.
And so finally he does shake out of it. And this is where he's talking about the rock, and he says he picked it up, and he's like, I saw all of this death, like I saw generations of this like thing causing parents to kill children, and
And
all of this bad.
obviously Marcus knows the actual story and he's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so he's like, great, I see. So we go to truck. This was a sad scene for me. I did not care for this scene. I wanted to punch Andy in the face. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's not really his fault, but I wanted to punch him in the face anyways.
correct.
So Rose and Andy have gone to visit him because Rose has to follow up as the social worker, and
Mm-hmm.
Andy theoretically cares. Um, and poor Truck is so sad. He says the other kids are scaring him, and the pills are making him sleepy. And I don't know if he's like sleepwalking. We know when he sleeps, sometimes he sleepwalks, which doesn't help in this kind of environment.
Yeah.
And he's asking if everyone hates him. Like, oh God, it's so depressing.
Well, and he says,
And
I didn't mean to hurt her. She told me to do it, and they were like, who?
yeah,
And
he's like, she made me.
he was like, they were like, who? He was like, the voice in my head, which doesn't help when you're thinking someone's
Doesn't
crazy.
help. And I was like, oh, he's so right though. He's telling the truth. Everyone's just gonna think he's insane, and they're just gonna give him more medication. That's gonna be bad for him. And so he asks Andy not to hate him, and Andy's just like hella disconnected. He is just like not even paying attention. And I was like,
So,
wait. And then they walk out, and um Rose is like, why are you like, what's going on? Why are you like so upset about this? And he tells her that he thinks um all the kids are leaving. Oh no, maybe this is when he's talking to Nikki. He tells her he thinks all the kids are leaving. Like they're not gonna be able to have care for them in the house anymore. And she's like saying how she'll take care of things or whatever. And he finally asks her if she was the voice inside Truck's head. And
yeah.
we don't see.
I think he does tell Rose that all the kids are gonna end up there anyway, but then he continues the
Yeah,
conversation with Nikki.
yeah. Um, but we don't see her answer, but he's for sure gonna lose it, as I've noted here. And
No.
Rose is like filling out paperwork, and she turns and sees him turn his head like he's talking to someone when there is no one there.
Yeah, it's not a good look.
Not a cute look. Um, so we go back home and we learn the story of Truck's name. And it turns out that when he first moved there, all he had was this truck that he was living out of. And so Verity kept calling him Truck Boy. And he thought she was saying Truck Boy. So everyone started calling him Truck Boy. And then it just got shortened to Truck. And he loved it so much. And it's just so sweet. It's so sweet.
I
Um,
love him.
and so Harper is listening to the story, learning about, the family. And she starts asking Caleb if the island witch is real. She's like, "Do you remember that story you told me?" He's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Is she real?" And before like he answers, like Andy creeps up around the door and tells them dinner's in 2 hours. First of all, you do not need to tell me dinner is in 2 hours. You need to tell me dinner's in 10 minutes.
Right.
Like,
No, like you give me enough warning that I need to like wash up for dinner. You don't tell
right.
me unless I'm in the middle of like, I don't know, an epic battle of an actual sword or a 15-page
Right.
paper. I don't need a 2-hour warning.
Yeah. If you give me a 2 hour warning, now I'm hungry and now I'm mad because I'm not eating.
Correct.
Like that is how it goes. And so 10 minutes solid. Maybe 20 if you're feeling like a little cushion. But
Or a
Andy,
half hour if you need help setting the table.
sure, yes. 2 hours if you need help cooking. That's when you give me a 2 hour warning.
Yeah.
Not now. So, but it's clear he's just creeping around. So whatever. Um. So then Rose is talking to Marcus and Tomas, and she's telling them about Truck and how things are going, and they start asking if anyone's been like acting weird, and she starts telling them that Andy's just been extra stressed.
Yeah.
And Marcus or Tomas, I didn't write down which one. I think it's Marcus starts talking about how all these parents are killing their children because of this curse or demon or entity.
Or
Um,
whatever. Yeah.
and they're like, well, if he's acting strange at all, we want to talk to Andy.
Yeah.
Um, and then, excuse you, she's like pushing me with her face. Please get out of my face. So we go to Andy and Verity, and she's asking about Chuck because obviously she's upset because she doesn't
Yeah.
think it's his fault because well, it's
Yeah.
not his fault, but
Right.
she even so she's like asking if he's coming back, and Andy's like, not like he'll find a good place, and she tells him she's not pressing charges, and I'm just like, that's so sad. She wants him back so bad,
She
and
does.
Andy just tells her that Chuck isn't coming home. I was like, geez, okay, so. Then Rose comes back in and she brings Marcus and Tomas, our dream team,
Yeah.
and he starts talking to Nicole tearing tearing them apart. He's like, if this keeps going, people are gonna like tear us apart or whatever. And she's like, you can't let this happen. Like, just follow my lead. And she ends by saying, I think that we're what they call happily ever after. You're dead.
Right?
You're dead. This is not how that goes.
No,
You
it
can't.
was not a thing I enjoyed at all.
No. And then a nod to our first season, we jump over to Mouse and Bennett, who knock out these people in front of a door they're guarding. And when they go in, they find Maria, who is in a terrible state.
Oh my
And I was
gosh, she
like,
looks
ooh.
awful.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, the demon knew that she was not a good like candidate, and this is proof. Um,
Yeah.
and so we go to dinner, and they're like, like Andy's serving dinner, and he's like, all of the cheese. For dinner, there's like four different kinds of cheese that he's put on this table. And like
Which,
that sounds like a dream, but that doesn't sound
yeah.
like a balanced dinner for children.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. And uh they ask like, what about Grace? Shelby asks, what about Grace? And Andy just freezes. And it takes him a minute to be like, oh, like a prayer, not this human child demon that was following.
Right.
Yeah. And so he asked the good father to pray. And so Tomas says the prayer, and Andy starts cutting in with snide remarks, just like Angela did in the first season. And if we didn't know
Mm-hmm.
already, we know now that he's the one affected. And they're like talking about it, and Harper is just so excited because she loves them. She starts telling everyone how they're exorcists, and then obviously everyone has different reactions to that. And Andy just like goes off, and he starts bringing up like how extras are bad. He's like, why are we going to trust these priests? And he like tries to switch it over to like Verity and be like, you went through conversion therapy. These people think
Okay,
you're a
that
demon.
made me so angry. Like,
Yeah.
how dare you? How dare you? I happen to know people who were like in the foster system because of like abuse and everything. And I know people who have adopted children after fostering them. And the idea of any of them ever like using their kids' trauma as a weapon, like the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah. And he's like, I just want to protect you. Like, dude, you brought it up. This didn't have to be a conversation. This is, and also like,
Mm,
this exorcism has nothing to do with Verity. Obviously, she's not possessed by a demon. That's clear.
right.
And oh gosh, so that was
It's gay
terrible. And she,
shit.
yeah. And she's just like, I think you should just leave me out of it. And he just keeps going. And finally, Marcus like cuts in and he's like, why don't we leave like your child out of it? Like, this is not
Yeah,
about her. And that's when he starts talking about like, oh, I'm just trying to protect you.
bitch.
Sure. Sure. So now we go talk to Maria, and we learn that she had cancer, which is why she is looking the way she is. And that's why the demons did not want to integrate with her, because they knew already, as they know already.
Yeah, I missed that line, but that makes so much
Mm,
sense.
yeah. I mean, they didn't say that that's why, but I gathered that
No,
that.
but like I missed the line about her having had cancer before she
Oh,
even like I missed that.
yeah. Yeah. And so the demon of course is now antagonizing everyone, and they're ready he's ready to leave her body because her body is dying, and he's
Yeah.
telling Father Bennett that like he's the perfect candidate. He's like, we've tried this, why don't you just like follow through? And Mal starts hooking her up to holy water, and she starts just like bleeding from all of her pores. And I was like, oh, that was easy enough. Spoiler alert, that's not the end. I thought that was the end.
No,
It's not.
no, it's
So we'll come
not.
back to that. So we go to our faves, Marcus and Harper, and she, gosh, she's just the sweetest little girl for someone who has like just recently got out of a traumatic life.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I'm shocked by how well put together she is as a person.
I
But
know.
she's
It's
telling Marcus that everyone is so sad and how she misses Truck and they miss Truck. And he's like, well, is everything like, is anything weird been happening? And she starts telling him about her weird feeling in the woods.
yeah.
And she tells him that a voice spoke to her and she asked if it was the island witch. And then we go to sitting in the den with our
Hmm.
four friends, Marcus, Tomas, Andy, and Rose.
Yes.
And Andy starts like they're telling him like how they are, and they're kind of just like talking through things, making sure everything's okay. And he just starts quizzing them about the accidental exorcism on Harper. And they're like, didn't you already like make a mistake? Didn't you already mess up? Like, how do you know that you have all these other tools at work? And Marcus starts explaining the beginning symptoms, which of course Andy's already having.
Yeah.
So Marcus starts then antagonizing him to rile the demon up so he makes a mistake. And the
Mm.
whole time Andy's talking, which is not addressed by anyone in the room, but he keeps saying we.
Yeah.
And
No,
he
no, it does get addressed.
does it. I must have missed it.
Yeah, no, he just keeps saying we. And Marcus asks him, and he's like, we? Who is we? And he was like, well, Nikki and I did this together. And then he makes it seem like he like tries to talk it out like he was only meaning we in the past tense, but then he never stops saying we. And that's why Marcus is like, you're not as put together as you think.
I must have missed that.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, and so he's talking to him. He's trying to like get over on him, and as he's antagonizing him, um, he gets really angry and goes to get up, and before he can get like super angry, Nikki stops him, which is like
Mhm.
the proper move as a demon.
Yeah.
Um, but it would have been great if she didn't stop him so we could just catch him right then. So then
Yeah, but then where would the story go?
exactly. So then Andy goes to pour some tea, and as he's pouring it, he pours it in Marcus's cup, and then he pours it in Tomas's cup, and Tomas just sees blood. No, no tea, just blood. And so of course he doesn't pick it up to drink it, but he's like, I need a minute. And he stands up. He doesn't tell Marcus not to drink it because my concern is this is poisoned or like something to make them sick at minimum. This
Yeah.
doesn't just feel like regular tea. And
Yeah, but
so I was like, why are you
he
not?
poured it actually the Mark Andy poured it in his own cup and
Yeah,
Rose's cup before Marcus's. So that's the why I wouldn't have assumed that.
but he didn't drink it yet. And
Well,
who's to say
yeah,
he's not
but
gonna like poison Rose because Nikki wants to poison Rose. So like
yeah.
I would have waited.
But
I would have waited until he drank it. And if he didn't, I would have said something to Marcus if I'm seeing blood in a cup.
that's fair, but Tomas has no control over these visions and he's losing his goddamn mind.
Yeah,
So
that's true too. That's true too. So um, after the tea situation, Marcus starts speaking in another language. I thought it was Italian at first, but I assume it's Latin because that makes more sense. But
yeah.
he just starts speaking in another language. And then he pulls out the demon rock, as I've decided to call it. Um, and he starts again antagonizing. He tells Andy that oh gosh, he tells Andy that he I'm sorry, so he's like stepping over everything right now. That he blames himself for Nikki's death.
Yeah.
And Rose just starts getting in the way. And she's like, I didn't like sign up for this. Like, this is not so you can like antagonize him. And Marcus is telling him to fight it because he knows Andy's still in there because obviously Andy's still in there. It's very early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy threatens to call the police, and Tomas just says they'll leave. It's fine. They're going to leave. So Marcus and Tomas go outside, and because they're not morons, they start trying to figure out how to get in there and get Andy away from everyone else.
Right.
So so Marcus just says they'll take him by force. They're like, we'll just grab him and take him to go. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And Tomas says he starts telling Marcus that he should have listened to him about the visions. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize they're getting out of control. I wasn't
Hmm.
prepared. And then poor sweet Marcus says, no, but this curse that you have led us to this family, and they would not have been protected had you not done this. So like, while it's not great for you, Tomas, is seeming to be helpful for where we're trying to go.
Right.
And the the best little visual, they're just praying in the middle of a storm. So now we go back to Bennett and Maria, who's not dead yet, as I thought previously. And
Correct.
they're asking her for more information. And she she obviously she doesn't like give them, she's not giving them anything, but then she
Yeah.
starts talking about the little cub again, which we
Yes.
know has been used in the past.
Yeah.
And she says that he's coming along well, which makes me concerned for how
Well,
stable Tomas is going to be.
well, it makes me concerned because obviously there's this whole is this thing a gift or a curse? And obviously if the demons are talking about it in a way that is like,
Positive for
oh,
them.
positive for them, it's probably not a good thing. But also like it is leading him in all of the correct directions and it is
Helping
giving
fight
him the
people.
answers and it's fighting the answers and it's showing him things that other people can't see. So like what
But
what
if in the end he like ends up getting taken over, he's probably going to be one of the most powerful integrated demons because of his connection to God and everything. So I think
right.
that they're playing the long game here.
Ugh,
The
I don't
worst.
know. I'm stressed out. It distresses me.
And can you imagine we only have 4 episodes left of this whole series? Let's see what happens.
No, the show
So,
got canceled, right?
Uh-huh. But I don't know if it got canceled like suddenly or if they wrap up the season and then they like don't follow through with the storyline,
Right.
like
Like I'm sure the season arc ends, but now I'm concerned that some other pieces don't because they didn't. I like
yeah,
I
I'm sure everything doesn't end, but I'd like at least the season arc to end and a
Mhm.
couple of things tied up. Like Maria should probably die before the season's over, even though she's
Well,
technically not a season arc. Oh,
she
she died.
she
She
died.
died
I was
already.
like, she dies in
Um,
this episode. What are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
literally was about
But
to
like
say
no,
that.
but
So
like if we don't we're not I'm just this is prediction, obviously. I have not watched any more than this episode. We're not gonna find out if Tomas's visions are a good thing or a bad thing. I'm sure we're not. And I am gonna be pissed
I'll
off.
write a new ending. I've got like three things I'm supposed to write this week after yesterday. So like it's fine. Just stay
Well,
tuned.
but you also I know you didn't like read everything, but they have like they published what season 3 was supposed to be if it didn't get canceled, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so like we can
I
talk
think
about that
so.
when we wrap the show up.
Right. We'll do that in our wrap up. Um
Because I'm gonna have so many feelings.
I that's gonna be like a 7 hour episode.
I'm so
Um
sorry. Well, I mean, here's the thing: we can do a season wrap up and then a show wrap up, so we can probably make it a two-parter, really.
yeah, but like season one isn't really tied in anymore. We did that. We're done with that. So like doing a
Yeah,
show wrap up is gonna be hard. Anyways, we'll talk
yeah.
logistics off the air. You don't need to know the business background. These are our secrets. Um so after she starts talking about little cub, she starts talking in Marcus's voice. And Mouse has a reaction to it. And she said she doesn't know Marcus. So now Bennett is a little sketched out, and we learn that something happened at the Abbey 20 years ago that made her an exorcist, and there's something bad in her past. But before the demon can tell us more, Mouse shoots her. And everything goes haywire with the demon. And Bennett gets stabbed by like glass pieces, some sharp object. I think it was glass.
It's glass from the chandelier. And let me
Okay.
fucking tell you. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna go off for a second. This, first of all, how dare you think that you have enough control to be this exorcist that is telling fucking Father Bennett how to behave himself and what to do and how to control things when you have some shit in your past that you have clearly not let go of? That's how the demons get a hold of you. Fuck you. Second of all, if Bennett dies because of the chandelier exploded because you couldn't fucking keep your temper and I lose Father Bennett, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
All fair. Those are all fair arguments. Yeah. I anticipate that it is not that it's something similar to how like Marcus killed his father because he was in a bad situation. So it's like it's not a good thing that made her like makes them the exorcist, but it's not something that's like bad for the world, if that makes sense. I feel like it's something more like that.
It
Um
better be. It better be. Because if Father Bennett dies because of you and you're a shady bitch, I'm gonna lose my mind.
oh yeah, if he dies because of something shady she did, I bet she's getting possessed. Like I'd be shocked if she didn't. So
Mhm.
who's to say? We'll see.
I also just worked myself up so much that I don't know if I'm even gonna make it through
Breathe,
the rest of this episode without coughing.
breathe. Have some tea, breathe.
I'm out of tea. I drank it all.
Well, good luck then. I wish you the best. So we go back to Andy and Rose, and they start talking about him being mad at her. And he's like, I can't believe you did this. First of all, regular Andy would be like, totally get it. You've made the right choice because we have to protect these children. Demon Andy obviously is not that way. And he's just
Bitch.
talking his way out of it. And he's like, I'm depressed. I'm sad. I never got over grieving. And like, while all of that is probably true, also,
Yeah.
that is not the reason for everything that's happening. And in the midst of this, he's like, I regret these things. I'll never let it happen again. And then he just kisses her.
He was like,
I
I
was like,
lost Nikki and I never got over it, and I'm never gonna lose you.
yeah, I was like, oh, good. This is good move. That's where we should be going.
But the problem is that wasn't Demon Andy. That was Andy.
That was regular Andy, yeah. And but this is not the time, Andy. But it was regular Andy. And then we go to Harper, who starts hearing something and wakes up. And when she's awakened, her mom has shown up to take her home.
Fucking tell you. Not for a second did I think that's where this was going.
Also, I thought that it was going to be the demon trying to take a hold of Harper by becoming her mom. I didn't think it was actual mom.
I did.
What
I
was
had a
thinking?
split second where I was like, "Whoa, demon is getting around," but I didn't think so. But then I was pretty sure no, it actually was her mom. But when I heard whispering in the woods, not for a second did I
No,
think that that's where that was going. I was
no.
shocked.
And the whisper in the woods is what made me think that it was going to be the demon
Mhm.
trying to be her mom because everyone else was hearing the demon voices in the wood. And I mean, it was very quick. I learned it was actual mom because, like, when she pulled the like knife at her or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, she's like a real person. Demons don't have to
Demons
threaten.
don't pull knives on children before they're fully invested.
Right. They don't panic like that. And then we go to Auntie and Rose, who are fooling around when he opens his eyes and see hands around her throat, which
That
obviously are Nikki's.
that visual, the visual of the hands coming
Mhm.
up out of the bed around her neck was one of, I mean, it was so creepy, but I think it was one of the best visuals the show has had so far. Like just
Yeah.
that moment where like everything was all sexy and then it was just like emerged as
Mhm.
part of the sheets. I was like,
And also like such a good like choice of way to do it because like it like obviously I had a feeling that Nikki would show up because
yeah, because Nikki
they're
was not
sleeping
about to
together.
like, yeah.
Right. And but that is not how I thought it was gonna happen. I thought she would have like walked up behind him or like whatever. But instead,
Well,
nope,
because the
she
other thing is, I'm still not convinced that Nikki didn't kill herself because of the demon. So, like, I don't know
yeah.
if this demon really could actually be Nikki. Like, I don't know what is happening.
Oh, I definitely think that Nikki killed herself because of the demon. I don't think
Right.
like I think that's what it was.
No, I think so too. But,
Um
like, so I don't know how much of this demon is
Nikki
using
is the
Nikki.
demon.
No, how much is using Nikki to get to
Mhm.
Andy, and how much of is Nikki's, like, fucked up spirit still somewhere in the
Yeah.
ether?
That's a good question. Um, but then we go back to Harper, who says she's not going with her because she's not well. And I was like,
Correct.
correct. And that's when she pulls the knife on her. And I was like, just solidifies that you are unwell, but that's fine.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Um, and then just in the nick of time, Marcus and Tomas show up at the front door. When they open it, they run into Harper and her mom. Thank goodness. But of
Yeah.
course, mom grabs Harper with the knife at her neck and just like backs up the stairs. So then Rose starts seeing Andy acting weird because he's just like stopped and starts staring. And he says Nicole and then starts making out with her. And Rose is obviously getting freaked out. And then
Mm.
a window explodes. Everyone is hanging out. Everyone is hanging in the air. Rose has been thrown against the wall in the air. She's being choked. Verity walks in and yells at him, and we learn that it is not no one choking him, but he is physically choking Rose.
Yeah.
And so it's gotten to him. And then everyone's awake now.
Yeah.
And so Andy grabs the knife that Lorraine has dropped, and he grabs Lorraine. He can't hear anyone talking to him. He is like fully in demon mode. He stabs straight up her stomach to kill
Well,
her.
and Shelby is like grabbing onto Caleb and Harper, trying to like protect
Hide
them,
them. Yeah.
hide them from what's about to happen. Rose is in her underwear, like choking to death, like still choking and trying to catch her breath in the doorway of the bedroom. Marcus and Tomas are just trying to like keep everybody safe as literally the world is collapsing. And Andy's just got this woman in a chokehold against the wall of the house.
And so he kills her. When he drops her body, he puts his hand against the wall and leaves
And
the bloody
that's
handprint.
the missing handprint.
That's the missing handprint. And
But also when he stabbed her, I gasped, freaked out. I had my other teachers had just come in my classroom because we were about to have the teacher come in for the meeting, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I am not okay." I,
not okay. Yeah, it was rough. But he drops everything, kind of like bends over, and I'm a little concerned he's being integrated at this moment.
With the
Um,
screaming that happened, yeah, no, I don't.
and then Tomas and Marcus start the exorcism. And that's the end. What a wild episode, right? Like
I don't even like. I genuinely don't even know what to say.
it's oh my gosh, it's so insane. Well, my question, who do you want to punch?
Mouse. I mean, there's a lot of answers. I understand that, and there was a lot of really shitty people. But
Well,
if
that is a great answer. Yeah, Mouse, because we don't know yet, and she could
yeah,
be very well
yeah,
deserved.
like
Um,
there's a lot of people that their bad actions have at least been answered for in this episode. I don't know if Father Bennett is dead, and so I will not be okay until I know.
well, he hasn't died yet, so surely he's going to keep going. Um, well, per my MO, I'm going to punch Lorraine.
Fair.
Um, you know, she died for her sins, but she still needs to be punched. Um, so who's your MVP?
The MVP. Is anyone like good for anything in this episode? No, Father Marcus. Marcus is the only one who really just never fails to be the good person.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. He is the correct answer. But I'm gonna go with Harper because
Good.
she's really brought a lot of joy into this house for a house that's falling
You
apart.
know, and
And
she
she's
told her
protecting her
mom
mom.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, because she knows now that like she has to protect herself, but she also knows that she has this family that's going to protect her. And she's just so strong and so sweet. Ugh, God bless her. So do you have any predictions? There's no trivia. BT dubs, of course.
I mean,
That's the
I
usual.
know I've kind of sprinkled some of my thoughts and questions and predictions into the episode today because my brain is all over the place. But I don't. My problem is that I genuinely don't know what is going to happen next because nothing that happened in this episode was what I thought was going to happen. Um, my assumption is that the next episode is going to be pretty like desperately exorcism itself heavy. Like the next episode is going to be the exorcism. Like that's my prediction.
Probably the next two episodes.
Probably I don't expect it to happen quickly. But yeah, so like I don't know who else is going to get dragged into it. I don't know what else is like where it's going to go, what's going to happen to the kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I do wonder.
I'm genuinely very scared and that Father Bennett did not survive that because that did not that gaping
Didn't look
wound
great.
did not look
But
great.
also
No.
to be fair, they are like in a medical-esque facility. So if Mouse has any idea of how to like help these things, she has all the tools she needs right there.
That's true. That's
Like,
true. That
and
could
that's
be
a
where they
better
take it.
odds than he's had so far.
Yeah, that could be where they take
So,
that, but
um, yeah, I'm a little concerned, like with the idea of the next episode being the exorcism or the next two, even because I really thought the way this was going to go was going to be, um, like more things would happen or someone else would get tied in and it would be like episode 8 and 9 that would be the exorcism so that they could have a resolution for 10 and set up their next adventure. So I assumed there would be another adventure set up in 10 that we would just never hear about, which would
um,
be like frustrating, but at least this one will be resolved pretty well. So I don't know, like,
but if they're doing the exorcism in episode 7, what is gonna come? Like what is there still to come that we are not even prepared
right.
for?
Yeah. Which is why I'm concerned.
Mhm.
So, like, is Tomas gonna get fully possessed? Like, I feel like he can't since they did plan for a season 3. Um, but
But I wonder if they knew that they were going to get canceled and they just kind of like threw a bunch of shit at the end at
yeah.
the like to like wrap things up in episode 10 that never were meant to be wrapped up in episode 10.
I think if I recall that they didn't know they were getting canceled till after it ended.
Hmm.
I'm
Okay.
not 100% sure on that, but I do feel like I saw that somewhere. Another
I
concern of mine about Father Bennett. Oh, go ahead. This is
no,
you.
I saw one thing that was it wasn't even on like an IMDb or something. It was on a Reddit post about something that like wasn't about this per se, and you know how Reddit does things that you
Sure.
never meant to see. I saw something about something that Marcus does in the very last episode that
Mm,
makes me think that it
at least tied
shouldn't
it up some.
they at least tied something up. And mind you, I saw this so long ago that I had no context for it and I didn't really know what was happening. And I don't remember any of the other names that were involved in the paragraph. Um, but it didn't, based on what I've seen so far, it feels like it was like a let's put a ribbon on it kind of thing. Or
Yeah,
it could have been opening another story. I don't know.
sure.
Fucking
Well,
who knows?
let's hope that we get some kind of a semblance of an ending.
Yeah.
One concern I do have with Father Bennett is because they've pressed so hard to try to possess him. Now that he's weak, I wonder if he's going to end up being possessed instead of dying.
I would rather him die.
I would also rather him die. But like this demon that's been freed from, because it doesn't look like the demon died inside Maria. It looks like it was freed from Maria. And I'm concerned that it's going to find a new home in Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, fuck this show.
So, concerned. But I'm going to try to remain optimistic and hope that everything goes
Yeah,
well. Everyone that we like survives. No demons. All demons are gone.
that'd be great.
Done. So,
It's not gonna happen, but like it'd be great.
no, it's 0% going to happen. 0%. But yeah, so if you guys have any predictions or thoughts, feelings, etc., if you're possessed by a demon, you can email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CE Cloud 13.
You can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And we will see you for Sci-Fi Sunday. Bye.
Bye.